Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope that you are having a pretty good Thursday. Mine's a bit complicated. It's got lots of moving parts today. So we're going to stream. Drop the link. I've pinned the link. Pretty sure I've pinned the link for folks to call in. We'll do a call-in show today. And then this is going to be pretty fast-paced. I'm guessing we're going to go 45 minutes to an hour because I got to get up, drive somewhere for a radio show. So we'll drop the link to that radio show. We're going to be talking basically what Tom and I were talking about Monday a little bit when it comes to the whole immigration issue and Christian response to it and the way we ought to process this from a Christian perspective. And so hopefully you guys can catch that. It's going to be streamed. It's going to be on the radio. So if you're local, you can listen to it on the radio. But it's also streamed audio version. And I think it's also streamed a video version. I'm not sure. But I'll figure it out once I'll get all the info. I got that kind of invite today around noon. And so it's a very quick kind of turnaround. So we'll do that. Pretty excited about that. Hopefully you're checking out some of the shorts we've been dropping. We're trying to keep our shorts thematic and the music thematic and all that stuff. So hopefully you're sharing those out. I always think, folks, just share out the shorts. You don't have to share out the the 3-hour streams, but you can share out the shorts. You can always share out shorts. So, welcome. Drop a comment. Say what's going on. Say hello, you guys. Come on now. Say what's up. And again, the link is dropped. Put Christianity's Troop. Anybody wants to call in, be respectful, be mindful, listen, and everything will be fine. You can disagree, obviously, as long as you're actually listening. No particular subject in the theme there. So what's going on, man? How are you? I gotta drop I'll probably be like multitasking you guys. Hello, what's going on? Sean, what's going on, man? Okay. Can't complain. How are you? Can't complain. Just lots of stuff happening. So can't complain. Lots of stuff happening. Got a work trip coming up this week, starting on Saturday. So preparing for that. It's got any stuff on free will? I have no idea, man. No idea whether I have any stuff on free will. Probably. What's your question? Do you have any specific questions? Here's something. What's up, Tom? Here's something about free will. This might get me in a little bit of trouble. The Bible doesn't say much about free will. As a matter of fact, I don't think that's a biblical question. You can argue the Bible either assumes it. You can argue the Bible either assumes that it's limited to a certain capacity. But what the Bible doesn't do is give you a case whether people have free will or not, because that's not a Bible question. there's a number of things the Bible assumes, and I wish people started here. And if you're a good theologian, you should start here. The Bible assumes that God is sovereign. Sovereignty means God is in control. That doesn't necessarily mean God controls everything, but God is in control. The Bible assumes human responsibility. I'm being very generous here with my words, not to assume my own worldview into it, but I would say the Bible assumes human responsibility, both in action. The Bible assumes human responsibility in moral, behavior and all that stuff, and that goes with the action. And the Bible assumes moral responsibility in regards to rejecting God. Now, what you do when you bring these things together, the sovereignty of God and human responsibility, let's just say, is when you bring them together, then you're going to develop a view on what the freedom that you're talking about looks like. And you could be right or wrong about that. And so scholars debate this and go back and forth. Simple. So, again, this is a passage Sirop is quoting, and I want to pull this up because I like this. I like this. So this is out of Deuteronomy 30. Okay, we're studying the book of Deuteronomy with my Thursday night guys Bible study. So check this out. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19 says this. It says, which is exactly what he wrote, but I'm going to give you some context here, and I'll put this up on the screen as well. Okay, so this is Deuteronomy chapter 19. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19. Today I invoke heaven and earth as a witness against you. One of the things I love about this is that it also has covenantal language in it. And one of the things we know about covenantal language is creation being called to be a witness. So here in this case, heaven, the skies, and earth, the ground essentially is being called to be a witness against you, that I have set life and death, blessing and curses before you. Therefore, choose life. Choose life so that you and your descendants may live. Did you notice that? Choose life so that you and your descendants may live. So what is this a reference to? Okay, I also call on you to love the Lord your God, to obey him and be loyal to him, for he gives you life and enables you to live continually in the land that the Lord promised to give your ancestors Abraham. So this specifically, if you go back, Sean, I'll bring you in. Hang it there a little bit. If you go back and actually look at the context, it has to do with the blessings and curses that the Israelites shout to one another. So the choose life and live is essentially be obedient to the law. Obey the law of God. That's what's being told. And specifically, there's a covenantal nature to this thing within the Old Testament with verse 20. This is why it's important for us to read our Bibles contextually. Okay? So it goes on to say, in the land, notice that you can live continually in the land the Lord or Yahweh promised to give your ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this idea of God placing before them life and death, choose life so that you may live, is covenantally reliant. It's not an overarching statement about just everything, but here's what the law says: obey the law, be committed to the law, and you will have long life in the land. You will have long life in the land. If you don't, then it's not going to be good for you. You're going to die. And they don't. Shane. It turns out having Tom on your channel is incomplete. No, he gets the numbers up like crazy. Tom's the attraction, man. Tom's the attraction. Okay, Sean's called in. Sean, what's up, man? How you doing? So let me see if I can. Okay, you're just gonna be a black screen, so we'll just hear you out on audio. What's up, Sean?
Sup?
I can hear you now. What's up?
It's funny how I use the word sup. Um, I'm watching a lot of American stuff, so I like
Yeah,
that
man,
word sup.
those Americans are affecting you. They're ruining your language. Americans don't know how to talk English. I'm just saying. For all the British folks out there,
um,
or otherwise.
it's funny how we say all the time as well.
Yeah, you know, when you
All right.
edit videos, you start noticing. There it is. You start noticing these subtle things that you do that you don't notice generally, and it becomes extremely frustrating. Whenever I'm editing a short, for example, or any video, but specifically shorts, the amount of times I gotta get rid of me saying is astronomical.
Oh, there's probably AI now that could do editing and stuff like that now, I'd say.
I am using AI to do editing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. So what I'll do is I'll give it a
Okay.
prompt. I'll
We need
give
to
it a.
talk about
Go ahead.
religion, the
Go
Bible.
for it.
It's funny because I don't even know much about the Bible. Actually, I was on the website there today
This is
about
why you need to read the Bible,
there's a
Sean.
funny website I went on today.
Stop going on websites. Just
Well,
read
I
the
was
Bible
trying
for
to read the
yourself.
Bible there. I was trying to read the Bible there 2 weeks ago, and it was could be bollocks. I was like, it's too boring.
It's too boring.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I'd
don't
say a lot of
disagree
people
with you,
just,
by the way.
I'd say a lot of people just couldn't be bollocks. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do agree with you that parts of the Bible, it'd be very unfair to say the entire Bible, because some of the stories in the Bible are just amazingly complicated and complex and have lots of moving parts. But there are parts of the Bible that are boring. But here's what I always say to folks that I'm leading and mentoring or teaching is, whoever said, and I say this to my own son as well, whoever said that boring is bad?
Well, people that get bored usually do stuff about it. Like, I mean, if there was no boredom in life, we just if there was no boredom, I
Boredom,
guess we would just do nothing.
but boredom is a good thing.
Yeah, I know.
The
If we had
idea
no
that,
boredom, we would just
yeah,
be
the
dead.
idea that you and I have to be moving all the time, 24/7, is extremely unhealthy. We need to learn to be bored and be okay with it.
Well, especially now with technology, like um, boredom is hard to get.
Yeah, well, this is why
But anyway,
people
so
are doing technology fasts. Even non-believing people are doing this.
say that again.
People are doing technology fasts.
Technology tasks.
Fasts.
Oh,
They're
fast. Sorry.
fasting.
Yeah.
They're fasting from technology.
Hmm.
Like one would fast from food. They're doing that from technology.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Um. All right. So
Go ahead. Give me
let's
the
talk
best
about.
one you got. Give me the best atheist thing you got going
Uh,
on.
damn, I was looking for the tab with all the funniest things in the Bible. That was the website I was on. 101 funny things in the Bible, and I lost the tab. Dang it! I
You
was
could
gonna bring
probably
up
just
some good ones, but then
you
I
could
lost.
probably just ask ChatGPT to give you that instead of going on a website.
All right. Yeah, I'll do it there. Hopefully, I won't get kicked out of the StreamYard. or whatever it is. Ecam.
Oh, you did it on your phone.
Yeah.
101 funny
Am I still
things.
there?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
Sorry there. I'm just gonna.
These people thought
You could talk
Jesus.
there.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm typing.
These
Oh,
ChatGPT
I got
thinks
it.
Peter falling asleep when Jesus is in agony is funny.
Say that again.
ChatGPT thinks that Peter falling asleep when Jesus is in agony is a funny thing in the Bible.
Wait, so Peter fell asleep while Jesus was in agony next to him?
Well, yeah, when Jesus went out, see, this is why you got to read the Bible. When Jesus went out to pray, the night he was betrayed, he told his disciples, and it's a very somber moment. I don't know why ChatGPT would think this, but he told his disciples, 3 of them at least, he said, why don't you guys stay with me and pray? And he kind of walks away from them a little bit, and then he prays separately, and then he comes back, and they're sleeping, and he wakes them up. And this is the whole idea I'm sure you've heard of, where he says, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. So, like, there's nothing in that story that's meant to be comical.
No,
There
I
are
didn't
other
hear that
things.
story.
Yeah. Well,
What
you got
else
to
does
read
it
the
say,
Bible, man. If you're
AI?
going to engage Christians, you got to read the Bible.
All right, sorry. All right, so I was just gonna pick a random here. Jesus Christ.
Is the Lord and Savior.
There's loads. Give bad. Jesus Christ. There's a what? Jonah was angry when when he's preaching converted a city, but to
Yeah, that's a
Jonah
good
this
one. Yeah,
seemed
that's a good
very
one.
wrong,
That's a good one.
and
Yeah.
and he became angry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because he's a racist.
But to Jonah this seemed very wrong, and he became angry. Jonah was angry when he preached. This is badly spelled, badly written.
Do you know the story
Preaching
there?
converted. No.
Well, let me tell you the story here, Sean. So God calls Jonah to go and preach to a city called Nineveh, whose the inhabitants are Assyrians. And God says, go and tell them so that they repent, so I wouldn't have to judge them. And Jonah doesn't want to do that. He actually gets in a boat and runs away from God. God, by the use of a giant fish, gets Jonah to Nineveh. And when when Jonah preaches, Nineveh repents, and then Jonah sits sort of sad and depressed and complains to God. And that's sort of how the story ends. The story actually ends with
Oh,
God
is
telling
this?
him, I care about people
Sorry.
a lot.
Oh yeah. Is this the story where he goes in the whale, or he gets swallowed by the whale or fish?
Well, the Bible, the Bible doesn't say whale, but sure, you know, a lot of people focus on that, but that's not even a major theme in the book of Jonah. The major theme in the book of Jonah is something completely different. And major theme is that
Yeah, it's about forgiveness or something.
God is forgiving and loving to 1,000 generations. And Jonah
Right.
doesn't like that very much.
Okay. Jesus forbids the taking of any kind of oath. Jesus forbids the taking of any kind of oath, yet Christians in courtrooms throughout the United States place their right hand on the Bible, swear to tell the truth.
Yeah.
5:34:37.
Is this ChatGPT?
No, this is a
This is that
website.
website written by a very uninformed. Seems
Lifelessons.com.
like it's written by a very uninformed atheist. Um, yeah. So, what Jesus is challenging people there is essentially, I would say, taking oaths of a certain kind. What's happening in courtrooms, and you don't have to do that, by the way. You can just say, I'm going to tell the truth. But what's happening in courtrooms is essentially you're saying, God is my witness, that I'm not going to lie. And it's a tradition that's come down. It is not the same sort of thing that Jesus is talking about.
All right. Okay. Okay, another one. What happens when a demon leaves a person's body? When an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid places, seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. When I arrive, I find a house unoccupied, swept clean, and put in an order. Matthew 12:43-45.
What about it?
So basically, it has a whole thing about demons leaving a person's body and what they do after that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Why is that funny?
Well, it just explains what demons do after they leave someone's body. I mean, I've never seen a demon, so well, I guess someone has, I guess.
That's good that you've never seen a demon. Did you say Matthew 12:34?
It was 12:33-45. 12:43-45. Matthew.
43, yeah, 43, not 33. Yeah. The idea here is, again, this is not necessarily a teaching on demons, but okay, that's fine. There are a number of things that are probably important to think about here. One of them being that it seems like demons enjoy inhabiting bodies. And that's sort of their comfort zone.
Can demons possess other angels, or?
Doesn't seem like it, no.
Well, is Satan a demon? The bad guy, the main bad guy, what's his name again?
Let's just say yeah.
Satan?
Sure, yeah. Satan is a functional title.
So is there like evil angels or demons?
That would be the category.
Are evil angels, is Satan in charge of smaller demons like evil angels or something? Or bad angels or something?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can put a case together that Satan is a leader of sorts of other enemies of God. And you can develop that case.
So do all the bad things that happen on Earth are all the bad things happening on Earth caused by Satan?
No. Quite a bit of bad things that happen on Earth are caused by people. As a matter of fact, I'd probably say majority of things that happen that are bad on Earth are caused by people.
So what does Satan do?
Well, Satan tempts. That's one of the job descriptions, because that's what Satan means. The word shaitan, where we get the word Satan from, means adversary. It's not a name. It's not a proper name. It's not like his name is Satan, but it means adversary. So Satan is an adversarial character to people. And not to diminish the desires and power of Satan, the Bible says that Satan is like a wild lion seeking people to devour. But one of the things that Satan does is tempt people. So temptations, not all temptations are from Satan, but some are. Some temptations are from other human beings because we're sinners.
So not all bad things. Satan doesn't tempt everybody. Not all the bad things are caused by temptation of Satan.
Correct. You can say all bad things are caused by temptation, but you can't say all bad things are caused by temptation from Satan.
Right. And that's in the Bible, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, again, when I was talking earlier about human freedom and responsibility, the Bible very clearly puts human beings in a place of being the responsible ones. And we fall into all sorts of sins and evils because of our own desires. The Bible has a lot to say about your own desires, Sean.
Okay. Oh yeah, there's another funny one. Jesus turned to said to Peter, "Get behind me, Satan." Matthew
Correct.
16:23.
Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about when I say that the word Satan means adversary. So if you read the passage properly, then Jesus tells, Jesus says, "I'm going to go to Jerusalem, be betrayed into the hands of sinful man and die." And then Peter says, "No, you shall do no such thing." And then Jesus says to Peter, "Get thee behind me, Satan. Get behind me, Satan," because he says, you don't have the things of God in mind, but the things of man. And so at that moment and point, Peter is being an adversary to the plans of God in regards to the life of Jesus. He's being adversarial. And frankly, he's being satanic because he's trying to stop the work of God.
Right. And the next one. Truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, "Move from here to there," and I will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. Matthew 17:20.
Yeah.
Wait, so if I have faith in Jesus, will I be able to move a mountain?
Do you know what an exaggeration is?
Is that an exaggeration?
Yes. It's he's essentially saying, if you have very little faith, you can do big things.
Right.
Again, that's why I said that website seems to be written by a very uninformed atheist.
No, it just given me the short passage, like Matthew 17:20, I think.
No, I understand. I know the passages. But you have to be fair to your opponents. When I'm talking to atheists, I'm fair to atheists in regards to their claims. And I think when atheists talk to Christians, they have to be fair about their claims about the Bible. Like, what is it actually saying? It's not saying, "Oh,
so
look,
you're not taking this literally."
Yeah, right. Like the argument is going to be something like, "Well, there's a lot of Christians that have faith. I don't see mountains falling into the sea left and right." And it's like, okay, you're just being very silly, because that's not what that's talking about. That's a hyper literal reading of the text, and that's not what the text is saying. The text is saying, if you have little faith, if you have little trust, you will do big things.
Okay. But it says you can't say this. Wait. See, you can't say this mountain. Move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you.
Yeah.
Nothing will be impossible for you. So that means miracles, right?
Yeah, that means miracles.
So if I have faith in Jesus, I can do miracles?
If God wants to do them, yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So there's a comment here from Nick. Nick says, this website exhibits epistemological concrete reading things with both a lack of charity and a lack of basic imagination. I like that. Yeah. it's those are arguments, I think, like seventh. I don't even want to degrade seventh graders, but like seventh graders can give me. Doesn't the Bible say this? Why is it not happening? We're over it.
Yeah.
And they're not even funny. What's the website? 101 funny. What did you say the website was?
Lifelessons.com.
And then there's an article.
Spirituality. I just wrote down. What did I write down? 101 of the craziest, strangest, most ridiculous Bible absurdities. What did I write down to get this?
I don't know. You have to tell me what you wrote down.
I just said crazy shit in the Bible. That's what I wrote, probably. Oh yeah, the first one. God spends a day making light before making trillions of stars. He made the stars also. And almost an afterthought, he makes the trillions of stars. So he makes the light first?
The text says, "Let there be light," and there was light. Yeah, I'm going to go back
and
to
then
what
he makes the planets.
I'm going to go back to what Nick said. He said this website exhibits epistemological, concrete reading things with both a lack of charity and lack of basic imagination. So,
what does that mean?
What
charity.
Yeah, like actually understanding linguistic nuances in communication. Like, that's just horrible. It's like it's written by someone who...
Well, it's probably an atheist guy.
Well, who cares if it's an atheist guy? I read atheist guys all the time. They're not like that. That's like an academically challenged atheist. It's not even a normal atheist.
Yeah, it's like me.
Are you an academically challenged atheist?
Yeah. Cain is worried after killing Abel and says, "Everyone who finds me shall slay me." There's strange concerns since there were only 2 other humans alive at the time, his parents. 4:14.
That's not true, but okay.
Wait, what do you mean? What?
This is what I mean, but when it comes to uncharitable reading of the text, because the text says Cain goes out from there and finds himself a wife. So clearly there's other people. And there's good conversations as to who those other people are and where they came from and what the society looked like. There's some serious
so there was
conversations over this issue.
There was people that survived the flood.
That has nothing to do with the flood. That's the creation account.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay. No, that shows you that I'm not aware of the Bible.
Yeah, but you gotta be, man. You're listening to all sorts of Americans talking nonsense.
There's another one. And Cain knew his wife, except the only woman on earth was Eve, his mother.
True.
Genesis 4:17.
That's not true.
Hmm?
That's not what the text says. That's the thing. That's not what the text says. The text says multiple things. One of them being that he goes to a town in which he finds a wife for himself. Another one is that the text says that Adam and Eve had many other sons and daughters. We're not told when this whole situation happens. So these people are reading the Bible as if they've vacated their own brains.
Wait, so Adam and Eve were not the only humans on earth?
Well, there's people who don't think they were. Not that they weren't the first, but but Adam and Eve nonetheless, even if I go with a very young earth creationist view, the Adam and Eve at that point would not have been the only people. They would have been the first, but they weren't the only people.
So like they were like the chosen ones, God's favorite or something.
There's a view out there that says that Adam and Eve were chosen to be essentially representatives of humanity before God. And there
was loads
humans.
of other people around them, like Neanderthals.
Yeah. Well, like so,
people
if you read Genesis 1, so let me argue for a view that I don't necessarily hold to, but this is the way this sort of an argument goes. So that because we don't want to vacate our brains, right? And I'm definitely not one to do that. So here in Genesis 1, it says, "Then God said, 'Let us make man in our image and in our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over the livestock, over all the earth that creeps on and so forth.'" So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. The idea here, the argument goes, is that this use of the word Adam that is translated as man or humanity, some translations might say humankind. Let me see if the NET says humankind. Yeah. So if you notice here in the NET translation says, "Then God said, 'Let us make humankind in our image after our likeness, that they may rule over the fish of the sea.' And then so he made them." So God created humankind because that's what the word Adam means. And what happens in Genesis 2 is you get these two actual individuals who one of them is called man. His name means humankind. Adam means humankind. And so
wait, so Adam was not only one person, it was multiple people.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say Adam is multiple people. Adam is one person. There's a proper name used for an individual named Adam. The argument is that Genesis 1 is talking about the creation of all of humanity, and Genesis 2 is talking about the specific individuals that are selected to represent humanity. And so that argument actually goes in ways where Cain can find a wife for himself because there's other human beings around. I'm just look, I don't even have to believe this. The fact that this website that you're reading from doesn't even understand there are multiple views out there tells me it's not a website that's by any stretch of the imagination credible. It's written by whatever. I'm not gonna say nice things now. Let's see.
Well, you have to be fair. Like there is a lot of interesting things in the Bible.
Well, yeah, absolutely. There's interesting things in the Bible. That's why it's the most interesting. That's why it's the most interesting book to read. Keep telling you to read it. You keep reading random websites.
Well, to be fair, I am kind of reading quotes off it here now.
You're what?
I'm reading parts of the Bible now. God decided to kill all living things because the human imagination is evil. After he kills everything, he promises never to do it again because the human imagination is evil. Go figure. 8:21 to 6:5. Just a lot of.
You cannot. You guys? This can't be the sort of stuff atheists are producing.
Well, obviously, I'm not like Matt Dillahunty, okay?
Yeah, like these are so bad.
I'm not like the expert atheist. Like, what are the expert atheists out there?
I know that. And if Matt Dillahunty gave me these arguments, my words would be very different to him than they are to you.
Yeah.
This guy is the guy who's writing this website seems to be saying that Genesis when God judges the world, it's because human beings have an evil imagination. What was the
Well,
passage he
did God
quoted?
say that or something?
I'll read it. What was the passage?
8:21.
Yeah, Genesis
8:21.
8. Yeah, Genesis 8. So I'll read you what the whole thing says. Okay, it says, and the Lord, no, that's not, 8:21.
8.21.
Genesis 8:21.
No, not Genesis. Just write down 8:21. I'm not sure. I could be
It's that,
wrong. I don't
yeah,
know
it's
what's going on.
yeah, I don't know.
8:21.
That's not
6:5.
No, here.
Go to figure 6:5. What?
Yeah. I don't know what he's talking about there, but I'll pull up the passage. Give me a second. Here, so it's Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 and on. It says, so here's what the verse says. It's 6:5. But the Lord saw that the wickedness of humankind had become great on the earth. Every inclination of their thoughts, of their minds, was only evil all the time. Now, I don't know what translation he's reading to where it says their imagination. But the idea here is that the intent of their thoughts and their hearts were continually to do evil. It's not because they had a wild imagination, you know. He might be reading out of the...
Well, it's kind of similar.
Well, no, it's not similar. It's not similar in the sense that the text isn't saying people are just sitting there and thinking about bad things. The text is saying people are doing evil things. That they're always pursuing evil things. The inclination of their hearts and minds is always to do evil. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. Ivan's got a good question.
If that doesn't mean they're doing it.
Ivan said, "Why do you trust all the stuff that's on a random website? I thought atheists were supposed to be skeptical."
Well, we're not all atheists are that smart. Like, there's a lot of dumb atheists out there. You know what I mean?
It's because of this.
My Bible says so.
Wait, God kills everything to make the world less violent. God was angry. Genesis 11:13.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is all Genesis stuff, like. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
and he's supposedly they're
So-
trying to find a contradiction of sorts in they're violent and they're killing each other and they're evil, and then God acts in a violent way, and somehow that's a contradiction.
Well, it's funny because he kills everybody, but then we become evil again. We're still sinning afterwards. So
Yeah. But not
I
like
guess
that.
we were sinning more before Noah's
Yeah,
Ark.
but not like that. Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's passages in the New Testament that speak about the end of the world, and about the heart of man growing cold and things of that sort, which is reminiscent of like the days of Noah.
Also, before Noah's Ark, humans were more evil, bad.
Say that again.
Humans were more sinful before Noah's Ark.
Humans
flood,
were
basically.
more sinful. No, I mean we have the same sin nature. It's just I don't want to unload an entire complicated study on you on this issue because it's quite complex as to what's going on and why God would have to judge the world like that. And one of them is, so essentially it has to do with the production of these Nephilim giants that are walking the face of the earth. These great men of renown. But
Sorry, there,
for
bad
someone who
internet.
doesn't really read the Bible, that's kind of pointless. I would just say, hey Sean, why don't you just read the Gospels, man?
Yeah. Ask me a question there.
Genesis, sorry, someone's saying the imagination one is Genesis 11. Whole earth had become dismay. Behold, they are people. What's the passage, Sirap, that you're talking about? Behold, they are one people and they have one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do, and nothing that they propose to do will be impossible for them. Where's the imagination stuff there? Curious.
Yeah, he's simplifying it. It's not an exact quote.
No. He's in the chat. Somebody's saying that that's where the word imagination is being used, is in Genesis 11. I don't think it is. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so you can ask me a
I don't
question.
have a question for you as an atheist, because I frankly don't think you have a good reason to be an atheist. I think you're an atheist because it's a socially convenient thing. I'm not saying this about all atheists. I'm just saying this about you, Sean.
You mean like I could be buttocks going to church and praying and stuff like that? But I used to do that a lot.
Yeah. I just, like
I used to be
all
a
these
practicing
conversations
Catholic.
I've had with you, I've never come across an argument that's been like, oh yeah, I can see why. They're very weak stuff.
I think Catholics become atheists easier, especially
Why?
the liberal Catholics.
Especially the Catholics that aren't really Catholics. They're just Catholics by name.
Yeah. Basically, all the soft Christians are easily turned into atheists.
Because they're not Christians.
Wait, you saying that most Christians are not Christian?
No, I'm saying there's a lot of people in the world that are by name Christian, by maybe identity Christian, but they're not actually Christians. They don't actually follow Jesus. They don't care about him.
So what does that?
What?
So what does that mean? Are they going to hell?
Yes.
Wait, what do you think is the percentage of Christians that are real Christians?
Well, I don't know.
So do you
I
think most
don't even
Christians are
know
not
whether
very
I don't
good?
even know whether we can do proper research like that.
But do you think most Christians are not very good practicing Christians?
Most Christians that I know are pretty good practicing Christians. So
But do you understand what I mean? Like most
yeah, I
Christians probably
understand what
don't
you're
read the
saying.
Bible.
I don't know. I don't know. I can say
Okay.
I don't like doing these percentage things because then you're going to get caught on.
That's my
Oh, you got to
autism.
do your research and all that. So what I would say is this: in my experience, cultures that are dominant, cultures that are Christian dominant, so European cultures, let's just say, that have an identity, a long-standing identity of being Christian. There's large portions of the societies where the people are not actually Christians. They are by name Christians. And you get this both in the Old Testament quite often, that there are people that are by name the people of God, but they're not actually people of God. You also get this in the writings of Saint Augustine, who spoke about the visible and the invisible church. Meaning that there's a visible church that everybody sees, but not everybody in the visible church is a part of the invisible church, which are actual people of God. Sean, somebody has a question in the chat for you, Nick. He says, Sean, why wouldn't you read the Bible?
No, I have. I've read maybe the New Testament once, Revelations halfway, New Old Testament maybe half of the Old Testament. A long time ago.
Yeah. How old are you, Sean?
In the middle of the Bible, I was just about 32.
32.
Almost turning 33. Jesus Christ.
Jesus' age, yeah. I remember when I was 33. 7 odd years ago.
I don't remember
Feels
much
like
of my
a really long
20s.
time. You don't remember much of your 20s. Are you drinking too
Well,
much?
most people don't. No. Most people don't remember much.
That's
God
probably true.
has heart to heart. Another one. Israel's population went from 70 to several million in a few hundred years. Exodus 1.5 to
What's the point?
38:26. So it's basically saying that, but mathematically, you can't get 70 from 70 people to several million people in a few hundred years. That's what it's implying.
Okay, that's a fair argument actually. And so I'm assuming
Okay.
this is talking about when they go to Egypt, when Joseph brings his family down to Egypt, and the amount of years they're calculating as to how many people there would be. Yeah, I think that's a fair argument. I don't know what the numbers are. I'm not a numbers guy to crunch them and be like, here's what population.
It says from 70 to several million in a few hundred years.
Yeah, I mean, is that possible?
I guess it's in the Bible.
Impossible? No, I understand what the argument is. I get the argument. The argument is the individuals that come into Egypt are 70 people, and then when they leave, there's several million. And they're saying, how can this happen over a certain, a couple of hundred years?
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Maybe someone in the chat has a pretty decent response to that.
Yeah.
Ivan says, Arthur, have you ever heard of Michael Heiser on the Nephilim? And if so, do you agree with his understanding of the Nephilim? I'm pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting, but I know a lot of people don't agree. So I've changed my view. I actually changed my view on that. So I used to think that the Nephilim are the products of just human beings, essentially. And Heiser shifted my view on that. So, yeah, I have heard of Heiser. I know his view. I agree with a good amount of it, but I don't know whether I would say I agree with all of it, Ivan. Thank you, Jerome. Appreciate that comment there.
Whoa, another one.
Go ahead.
Another one. Sorry, I keep on asking you. 70 people, Genesis 46 to 27, Exodus 1:5, became several million in less than 40 years during the Exodus. Exodus 38 to 26.
That's wrong.
So basically, they're saying 70 people became. Say it again.
Unless you're reading it wrong or it's worded improperly, but all the details are wrong.
All right. So they're basically saying 70 people became several million in less than 40 years.
That's not true.
But then the one on
it's
top.
It's not a 40-year period.
Yeah, but then so then the one on top is the correct one. This one's wrong.
Caleb says the AI says it's possible, but I need the exact numbers.
Right. So they probably had loads of kids.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's loads of kids. There's dynamics that, for example, there's polygamy dynamics there that might change the whole equation. Petros is saying they were almost 2 to 2.5 million. So there's a lot of dynamics that could result in a major population boom.
Okay. God doesn't want to step in your shit. God gives us instructions for defecating. He says to carefully cover up all feces, for the Lord walketh in the midst the camp. You wouldn't want divine foot step in your shit, would you?
So,
Deuteronomy 23:12.
Deuteronomy what?
23, 12, 14.
After this, we're going to hang up, okay? You shall have a place outside the
All right.
camp, and you shall go out, and you shall have a towel with your tools, and when you sit down outside, you shall dig a hole. Okay, this is about pooping, essentially, because the Lord your God walks in the midst of your camp to deliver you and to... so this isn't, again, this is a hyper-literal reading of the text. The text here is talking about ritual purity and impurity. That's what the entire law is about. As a matter of fact, if you go to verse 9, right above verse 9, it says uncleanliness in the camp. This has to do with ritual purity. I mean, for the same stuff when it comes to a bunch of other, let's say, purity laws. So I stopped reading that website. It's a complete waste of your time.
But are you saying that God
That's not
was
what it's saying.
walking
It's saying God
around the camp and he
no,
doesn't want to step in it? Is that why?
No, because the language there is that God is in the midst of your camp. Don't have anything that's impure. That's the idea there. But for the same reason that individual seems to be thinking Christians who have faith are going to throw mountains into the ocean or sea or whatever, is the same reason why this guy can't read. And
wait, so he's not saying, the Bible's not saying that God is walking amongst them, so he doesn't want to step in it. It's
walking
just
amongst people in the Bible, it means that God is present there. That's a regular usage of that. That this is not the way they're wording it and the way they're putting it is extremely incorrect. This is about ritual purity, and there's a lot of laws about ritual purity in the Old Testament.
Okay. All right. Well, I won't annoy you anymore.
That's fine. Just stop reading that website.
Right,
it's an absolute. I don't know. I don't know a British word to use for that I can probably use. But let's end it on this. Let me end it on this. That website is exactly what the excrement that this passage is talking about. So don't use it.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
See ya. Thanks, Sean. What's up, folks? Chat, how you doing, chat? I don't know if you guys were here earlier, but here's what I said. I'm going to leave in about 15 minutes because I got to go and be on a radio show. I got a call today and an invitation to be on a radio show talking about politics, the whole situation with immigration in the United States and specifically in California and Los Angeles. I'm pretty close to us. All this wild stuff is happening. And so I will be heading out. I got to go to the studio and prepare myself and all that for that. So yeah, we don't have a lot of time with each other. He was reading a website, man. He was reading a Caleb. Be nice. What's up, Righteous Through Christ? How you doing? I just asked ChatGPT, is it possible to have a population growth to 2.5 million from 70 people in 400 years? ChatGPT says, yes, it is mathematically possible for a population to grow from 70 to 2.5 million in 400 years, depending on birth rate, death rates, and generational turnover. Let's say the population grows from 70 people to 2.5 million people. It's giving me a crazy mathematical formulation here where P equals final population, P0 is the starting point, T is the number of years, R is the annual growth rate. So 2.5 million equals 70 times 1 plus R to the 400th power. Okay. Is 3.3% annual growth rate realistic? Yes. Here's the context. The average world population growth in modern times has ranged from 0.5 to over 3%. Some pre-modern agricultural societies, especially with large families, low infant mortality, and rapid reproduction, could reach similar levels over time. For example, the Amish community in the United States has grown at about 3.6% per year due to high fertility and retention rates. Gives you a biblical context of the Israelites. Conclusion, yes, a population can realistically grow 70 to 400 years with a consistent annual growth rate of about 3.3%, which is historically possible and mathematically sound. Just telling you what ChatGPT said. Will you be live on the radio show? Yes, it is live. I will drop a link in the community tab if you guys want to check that out, Caleb. Can we assume there are some interracial marriages? Yeah, I don't see why not. What's up? Polygamy probably was a thing. There's probably interracial. This is not a language I like, but interethnic marriage is happening between Egyptians and Israelites. That's probably happening. So, unless there's Bible passages that tell me that there's no way that stuff's happening. I'm gonna be live on at 4 p.m. my time.
Fargo, your virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster.
Sorry, guys. It's opening up a website there. Yes, it's the same radio show. How are we doing on the rankings? By the way, they changed the tab on my end from it reading community tab or something to top fans. I don't like that. I liked the previous one a lot more. Community tab. No, it says top fans. I don't like that update. Top fans. Jerome sitting in first place. Dolphin is in second. Jason is in third. That's the Barnaby, by the way. And who else? Fourth. Who's fourth? Ivan is sitting in fourth. Pretty low scoring here. 75 points. Y'all have 75 points. First place all the way down to 8th place have 75 points. Hey guys, and I'll mention this tomorrow, but I won't have any live streams next week. Friday I will have a live stream. Next Friday I will have a live stream, but I can't stream next week. I'm going to try to set some videos to be released. But Pengal, how do I call in? There's a link dropped. You can call in using the link, but if you call in right now, you'll have about 10-15 minutes. Arthur, are they going to have Halloween adverts on there? They had Christmas adverts in October before, so it seems possible. I'm dying. Let me actually see what they have on there. I'm looking at it. I'm not seeing I don't know. Maybe. I don't think so. You're funny. Where is the community tab for the radio show? There's no community tab for the radio show. I think the live stream, there's a live stream option to it, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that might be on Rumble, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Trying to find easy ways for you guys to watch this. We good? Chat? We good, chat? Sometimes I watch, those Twitch streamers. Oh. If you want to watch it on Rumble, here's the link. My picture's already up there. I would have liked a different picture, but that's okay. That's the link. Well, let's call it a day. How about that? It's almost 3 o'clock. Said we'll go about 45 minutes to an hour. Let's call it a day. I will be back tomorrow, you guys. And we will take your live questions. I don't know. We'll maybe do 13 questions or something like that. What's tomorrow's date? Is it the 13th? Tomorrow's the 13th. It's Friday the 13th, so we'll take 13 questions tomorrow. And check that out. I dropped a link. I'll share that. I'll share the Rumble link on the community post tab thing. And 4 o'clock. So that's in an hour. Okay? We'll be talking about how Christians should think about the whole illegal immigration thing. And maybe I have a more nuanced view of it than most folks. And I realize that it's hard to think about this. So maybe that's why we're being called on. So with all that said, God bless you guys. See you guys tomorrow. Be well. And I'll talk to you later.